What's up, guys? I just want to cover this real fast. This is a big part of my income. Even if you can't donate something to help, whatever, this is how I make my money. I basically, YouTube's a fairly good size of my income monthly. If you can't donate or you don't want to, that's fine. Feel free to smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, all that good stuff. But if I kept you from spending hundreds or $1,000 easy at a shop, consider me. You know what I'm saying? It takes time to make these videos. I love giving free information, but it also feels good to have my back scratched too. You know what I'm saying? So everything you need to know is in the link below. Also in the comment section, you'll find all my information in the pinned comments. And I hope I help you guys out. You can help me out. Let's get started. What's going on, guys? What's happening? So, the top 5 good things to do to your scooter. A couple of years ago, I did the top 5 worst things to do to your scooter, and that video did very well, and so I wanted to capitalize on that. Even though it took 2 years, I wanted to put out a video for the top 5 best things you can do for your scooter, even Chinese or not, doesn't matter. However, I will say that most of these probably will do the best for Chinese. So the first one I want to start with is using correct fuel in your scooter. There's a huge debate, and I'm going to put it to rest today, about whether you should run premium or 87 or in between grades. And here's the reality of it. You shouldn't be using any of those if you can avoid it. You should be using ethanol-free fuel. Ethanol-free fuel will help your carburetors have way less problems, way less carburetor issues. If you're running fuel injected, it won't matter so much, but if you're doing carbureted engines, it is better overall for your carburetor to have the least amount of issues if you're using ethanol-free fuel, especially if you have a Chinese scooter. The reason why is China does not use ethanol content in their fuel. And so when these carburetors come from China and they're sent over here, the rubber and the plastics that they're made out of on the internals of the carburetor, unfortunately, are not ethanol rated. So after 6 months to a year, your brand new carburetor that you just put on starts having a lot of issues if you're using ethanol rated fuels. So if you go to places like Wawa gas stations, things like that, you will be able to get ethanol free fuel. There's also a few videos showing you how to remove the ethanol content if you can't get ethanol free fuel from regular fuel at a gas station. So let's say you went and got premium grade fuel, you can actually take the ethanol content out of it. There's a bunch of videos showing how. If you want to move forward, I suggest look up how to remove ethanol content from fuel on YouTube. You'll get your answer. All right, guys, move on to number 2. Number 2, proper air in the tires. I get a lot of weird comments from people like, well, my scooter slowed down 5 or 6 miles an hour. I used to get a top speed of this, this, and this. And a lot of the times, guys, it's not so much something is wrong with your scooter. A lot of times it's that you're not paying attention to your tires, okay? So if your tire is low, the more the tire spreads out from being flat, the more friction it's creating on the pavement. You will find that if you're running pounds below your threshold rating on the tire, that the more the tire expands, the harder it is to move. Therefore, you start losing a lot of speed. What can you do to solve this? Well, that's easy. Make sure your tires are constantly inflated to the proper levels, and I think you'll see a major speed increase. And if you've never checked your air pressure from the time you got your scooter and set the tires correctly, you may even notice a huge difference in how your scooter activates, how fast the RPMs come up, how fast it takes off, all those things. So, number 2, proper air pressure in the tires makes a huge overall difference on top speed and takeoff. Remember that. Let's get started with number 3 here. Looking at my little list here. Number 3, valve adjustment every 2,000 miles. These little engines, especially the little Chinese GY6 knockoff engines, all the way up from 50 cc, 125 cc, and 150 cc, even some of the 200 cc's, all have tappet valves, right? And they're very easy to adjust, especially when you understand the principle behind it. There's a bunch of videos. I even have a bunch on my channel showing how to adjust your valves. But honestly, over time, they either get tight or loose. and they have to be adjusted. It's not like a normal motorcycle where you have to take measurements and put in new shims and tear the cams out and all that. They make it very, very simple to do your valves every couple thousand miles, right? Make sure that you are doing that, because otherwise your scooter will start becoming way harder to start. Keep running. You'll ruin the valve seats depending on how bad the valves are at that time. You can ruin the valve seats, then your scooter won't run at all. It's better just to check your valve lash on your scooters. All right, let's get into number 4. Here's a huge one. Correct oils, guys. It's really going to depend on the environment that you're in, but I can tell you no matter what, I would choose anything synthetic based, especially for your cheap Chinese knockoff scooters. And the reason why is because they use very, very cheap bearings and pot metal casting. If you don't know what pot metal casting is, look up what pot metal is, and you'll understand why these little scooters break so easily and the metal components bust very simply with vibrations and other things, because most of these are casted from pot metal. And the internal engine also has a lot of pot metal inside of it. So the best thing to do is use high-grade oil on your Chinese scooters. You will really increase the longevity and the engine life of your scooter overall by using some high-grade oils. These things only take not even a quart of oil. Most of these take 3/4 of a quart of oil. So every 1,500 miles, you're only spending $8 or $9 on 1 quart of oil. Make sure it's good oil, guys. Don't cheap out on yourself. You want your scooter to last a long time. Keep your rings in good condition. Keep the internal components moving how they should. Use some synthetic-based oils. All right, let's move on to number 5 here. Number 5, belts. I get a lot of people say, my belt sucks. I replace it. 2,000 miles later, it breaks. I replace it again. 2,000 miles later, it breaks. Well, the first thing I would do is probably start replacing components in your CVT, because most likely they're wearing out these parts prematurely. You should be able to get around 7,000 miles, 6,000 to 7,000 miles per belt, even crappy $5 belts from eBay. But that being said, if you want to run into way less belt problems, the best thing to do is get a Kevlar infused belt. They are incredible. They rarely ever break. You could have a belt that could last you 40,000 miles before it might snap. Kevlar belts are a bit more expensive, but totally worth it. They wear out a lot less quickly if you start running Kevlar belts. So this is my first 5 of good things to do to your scooter if you want to help it keep running good. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe if I helped you guys today. If you feel like sending me enough to, get a cup of coffee, donate, hey, you know where my link is in the description. I also pin my information in the comments section below. I will catch you guys on the flip. See you later, you bunch of shitheads, you.